Good morning, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is Thursday, November 11th, and the moon is in Aquarius all day. The Aquarius Moon brings a mental focus to the day, and with Aquarius, we tend to be most comfortable when we are interacting with people who we're friends with, possibly people we agree with, but it doesn't necessarily make us closed-minded. But there always has to be a good reason for a change of mind or a change of heart. So today we have an inconjunct between Mercury and Chiron. And inconjuncts are always clunky. There's always a sense of not quite being comfortable with the interaction, right? It's like wearing a new pair of shoes that are sort of like pinching the back of your feet. You can walk in them, you can get around in them, but there's always a level of discomfort. And that's kind of the way inconjuncts work. You never quite feel settled with them. And because we're dealing with our wounded nature, Chiron, around how we define ourselves, Aries, or perhaps what we're here to do, purpose and such, we can feel a little at sea with this. And so trying to, excuse me, frog in my throat, trying to communicate to others your point can be met with disagreement or just a natural, we're more likely to hear no before we hear yes. It's not that we can't hear yes today, but it's going to take some adjustment, and that adjustment is usually one of an emotional nature, where we have to become unattached to what we're saying and sort of put it out there and leave it up to interpretation. Even if there's a misunderstanding, there isn't much we can do. In fact, the next couple of days really are a what's the word? A test? No. Practice? No, that's not the word I want to use. Anyway, the next couple of days, arguing your point is not going to be easy. In fact, saying your point may end up in arguing your point. And arguing your point, in some case, unless you're in a court of law, is not necessarily, you're not going to necessarily get your point across. So if there are, I know there's the Rittenhour case that we've been watching out of Wisconsin, and I'm not really sure if people are going to get too much satisfaction with that. However, it is an interesting case when you're dealing with somebody who's not particularly emotionally or mentally mature yet, whose parents allow him to run around with a semi-automatic weapon or whatever kind of weapon it was. So perhaps it's not him who needs to be on trial, although yes, he does. Perhaps his mother and father, if I don't actually know if he has a father actually, maybe they should be held responsible. But that's not what this is about. It's just an example of how things just are going to be particularly argumentative. So I'm here in the upper garden because the lower garden is just a pile of different piles of wood and such. But I thought you might like to see the bittersweet up there, and if you can see it. And we're loaded with bittersweet here. which is interesting. It is invasive, and it can take down trees because of its invasiveness, but medicinally, it's really good for arthritis. And seeing that Lyme disease is so prevalent around here, it's like Mother Nature is maybe trying to give us a little bit of a cure. And then over here we have the dogwood, which finally changed colors, and it's just so lovely. So I wanted to share that with you. So yeah, Moon in Aquarius, maybe some out of the box thinking. We do have a first quarter square, crisis in action square, with this Moon in Aquarius, and with the Sun in Scorpio, the Moon in Aquarius. The question is fair distribution of resources, and also fairness, fairness. All right, guys. Yeah, don't be surprised if you're misunderstood. Try not to take it personally. Do what you need to come to some sort of sense of ease with all of this, but it may not be that easy today. So do your best, breathe. When all else fails, just take a nice deep breath in and blow it all out. Okay, guys, have a great day. Much love. I'm going to try to get a video out today on the the 1111 gateway. Sorry, I haven't had my coffee yet. I decided to start my day with a nice tall glass of water, so I'm still working on that. All right, guys, take care. Much love. Namaste.